Hi, folks. In today's Tech Tips, I wanted to share with you something I found really useful recently. Um, in an effort to try and be as organized as I can be, I'm trying to move away from using post it notes with little scrawled to do lists on them, which inevitably get a bit messed up and hard to follow when you add new tasks and you don't have enough space, so you create new post it and all the rest of it. Um, and so I've tried various things on my phone, but I found that when I was working at my desk, I quite often would not bother because it would mean getting my phone out and unlocking it and opening the app. And so actually in this little sidebar, which many of you have probably kind of not really noticed, or maybe noticed but not really looked at and not really thought of, there's this little button here called Tasks. And it's for essentially a little app that allows you to create a to-do list. Um, and there are actually a couple of handy things. First of all, you can make separate to-do lists. So you'll see I've got one here called work. I've also got one called personal. So I can keep a separate to-do list for those two different things. And when we add tasks, it's dead easy. You just see at the top here, it says add task. You can just make it simple. Just type in the name of it and that's it. It saves automatically. But you can also do things like, for example, you can add in details of the task. And you could put in you could put in a date and a time. So if it's for tomorrow, say kind of the end of the day. You can set repeats. So I've got a task for Tech Tuesday. It doesn't really help me get Tech Tuesday done before the end of Tuesdays, but it does improve the chance of it getting done. So over here we can choose the frequency with which it repeats, and then when it will stop repeating, or after a certain number of times. So there's a load of things you can do there for repetitive tasks. And one of the things that I also found really useful is that sometimes I have a kind of a headline, like, for example, my development for a particular class. So that's going to probably sit there for the whole year. But then I can add subtasks. So you can click on the side here and add a wee subtask. And that allows me to add specific things that I want to do as part of that bigger task. And then I can just tick things off as I go. So when I've finished something up, like I've done this and I've done this today, it says task completed. And when we've completed those tasks, they just drop off as soon as this disappears in a wee moment. They drop off the bottom list, and you'll see we've got a completed list there. So we can go back and we can untick them if we need to. And you'll go up to the top here and see that you can delete all completed tasks. So you can clear that. There's loads of, I think, really handy features of this, basically. I'm not going to go into all the details, but just simple things like you can sort it by the date. So if you've created dates on some of the tasks, it will put the tasks with the dates that are most soon at the top. And then any that don't have a date will just sit down at the bottom here. You can switch back and forth between those settings. So we can go back to my order where you can just drag things around. So, we can move things up or down the list, reorder them, and we can star them as well if we want to highlight them. So it's basically a really quick, easy way of creating a to-do list or a task list that's saved in the cloud. So it means that if you go and use a different device and sign in, you'll find this little sidebar. If we close it, you'll find this little sidebar in really any Google app. So you'll see it's there in Calendar. You'll find it there if you're using Google Drive. And even if you want to be able to access it really quickly, because you might not use Google Drive and Google Docs and all the rest of it that much, what you can do is there's an extension here called Full Screen for Google Tasks. You just go on the Chrome Web Store and search for it, add it, sign in, and then up here you can pin the little icon to your extensions menu at the top. And anytime you hit that, it will just bring up your task list, and you can use that to add new tasks, manage your existing tasks, your different task lists, and so on. So it brings that up full screen. You might even want to just pin that tab, and it just means that it's always going to be there. So you can get on with your day and then come back to it if you need to add any tasks. Hopefully you find that useful. I've certainly, in the couple of weeks I've been trying to get in the habit of using it, I've found it really handy. It's made me a little bit more efficient in terms of getting things done and prioritizing and moving things that need to be done at the top of the list. Any questions? Just give us a shout.